Do the pledge allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Big crowd. Is this the first one I sent you, or the second one for the warrant? First one.
The only second.
No, I sent the second one, but apparently it didn't go through. Can you make copies of those for everybody? These are on the table version. The fees. Because that's the first one on the agenda. No, he's already got a copy. That's for the public folks.
This is for the public?
Yeah.
Oh.
So if they wanted to follow along.
Oh, okay.
When we get to that portion of the meeting.
Let me take a copy.
You?
Okay.
No.
I made it.
I was early.
It was insane one time. That adds an extra 20 minutes, and at the end of the day, that adds like an extra half hour, 40. I will open the public hearing for the building permit fee structure. Mr. Nason, would you like to speak to this?
Sure.
All right.
Simply a fee structure in front of you is how I calculate the fee for a building permit based on square footages and fixtures and the like. And the problem we're having is a lot of people are just not even getting a permit. So through consulting with the town attorney, we can't do a penalty, but we can do two different fee structures. And what we have there is a proposal to have our normal $5 per thousand of value fee before you start the work. And then if you get caught doing work without, or you decide that you're gonna start on your own and then come get a permit at a later date, the fee structure is $10 per thousand.
And the initial fee goes from 35 to 70. Is that what I'm reading here?
The minimum would be, the minimum permit in town is $35, which, you know, even if it's a minimum project and you don't pull your permit beforehand, the minimum will be $70.
What constitutes having to pull a permit?
The best way to think about it is anything, if you change the square footage of your house, if you change the square footage of certain rooms of a higher value, such as a kitchen, if you were to blow out a wall in your kitchen that had a bedroom next to it and you were to make the whole thing a kitchen, that would require a permit. because you're taking a bedroom, which is your least value per square foot, and you're turning it into a kitchen, or expanding your kitchen, which is one of your highest values per foot. And then the things, if you're replacing, the term is used in kind. So if you're replacing your shingles and you're using the same style shingles, don't have to be the same color, you wouldn't need a permit. But if you go from, a 3-tab shingle to metal roof, you would need a permit. And then in addition to that, when you do structural work, add a shed, pool, those sort of things.
Okay. Pretty
Straightforward. As I always tell people, if you have any doubts or questions, just call. It's a lot easier than paying twice as much for a permit.
Okay.
Question? What do I assume here for a plumbing, well, septic? You just use those numbers, the $1,000?
Per fixture. Yep.
No matter what it costs, you're just gonna go, its value is $1,000 or $5,000?
Value per fixture is $1,000 for plumbing. The variable would be like a fireplace, I think is the only variable in there. And that is because you can have some pretty inexpensive gas fireplaces that are cased in wood versus a full-blown masonry fireplace that has multiple flues and things like that.
All right. Open to public comments. Hearing none.
Oops. Get a
Oh,
live.
he had to wait until I said hearing none, didn't he? He did that on purpose.
I couldn't just
Resist.
I just couldn't withhold this.
All right. Please state your name and where you live.
Craig Evans, I live on Moose Mountain Road. I'm all for it. My only concern is whether or not our ordinance around this issue is posted on the ordinance tab on the website.
That's computer, don't ask me.
Or can we get it posted
I'm
on,
sure.
under ordinances? That people should have some way of knowing.
Isn't that it's part of the zoning ordinance?
No, it's
Well, the fee structure is not.
Right, but the building portion of it is.
Yeah.
the requirement to get a building permit is in the zoning ordinance?
I'd have to look at the language.
Yeah, I can't
I can't recall right offhand.
tell you off the top.
But I know there's a section for building in there.
Okay.
I can always, if it's not there, I can always draft something to put in there.
I mean, there should be some place where it's posted that in the town of Brookfield, to put up a structure, here's the requirement.
In his office.
Yeah. You mean,
I agree. If it's not there, can we get it
Yeah,
there?
certainly.
That's fine.
Most definitely.
Thanks.
Any other public comments? Going once, going twice. Hearing none. I will close the public comment section of the public hearing. Members of the board. Comments, concerns, questions?
I'm okay with it. I think it's good.
Okay.
Okay, so at this point, we will conclude we will close the public hearing on the building permit fee, the new building permit fees. And I believe this one we just vote on, this doesn't, so,
We need to do that, we just do a regular session.
no, we can do it now.
Okay.
We might as well just, while it's hot the topic, so I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the new fee structure as proposed, or as just discussed.
Effective,
Effective
Meeting.
immediately.
no coaching from the audience.
Go ahead.
I second that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. That be done. Our second public hearing. Frank's not here this year. I will open the public hearing for the town budget. Give Craig a chance to peruse.
I was actually looking at the building code.
Okay. Just on a little factual note, that for the year 2012, ending in December 31st of 2012, the town's budget we came in under budget by $36,533 for the year. So well job to everybody that watched their budgets. All right. Any public comments on the budget? And go section by section if you'd like. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the scholastic fund.
State your name and where you live, please.
Yes, Rosacker, Mead Dam Road.
Okay.
The scholastic fund, I know we talked a couple meetings ago about a new proposal for the scholastic fund. I guess, maybe I'm answering my question myself. I see the line item in here for it. I guess it doesn't matter what the fund, which way the fund goes. We still would want to contribute as a town to that fund.
This amount in this budget goes to the old fund that's already in existence, because the other fund hasn't been created yet. You would, when it is finally created, and if it goes onto the warrant, then there should be an amount attached to that to fund that fund.
Why would we want to fund both funds?
Well, that's on the agenda to discuss under old business. But until the new fund is actually passed and corrected, we still need to fund the old fund so it can continue to move forward.
If it's there, we're going to fund it regardless of whether we continue the old fund?
We can't discontinue it.
Let me ask it differently. By having it in the budget, it's automatically going to be, that $500 is automatically going to be deposited into that account, regardless of whether we create a new fund.
Unless it's changed at town meeting under Article 16.
Right.
Well,
Under current.
I think you got a proposed warrant article on it.
Okay. I don't have language on it yet, though.
I think you do. Second page. I think,
It's not for the new one, is it?
no, it's pretty old.
Right. I haven't seen the proposed warrant article language for the new one yet. There was still some question on it. I thought that was still being debated with the town attorney.
We'll have to talk about it later.
Okay. Well, that's, so,
To answer your question, I believe for this budget, $500 is going to go to that old scholastic fund. That's the way it's being proposed right now. You have some valid questions, but this budget says put $500 towards it.
and that can be changed at town meeting, when we do the final line item.
Right, when we go through the budget at the town
Right.
meeting, yep.
Any other public questions?
For the purpose of explanation, could you go over the salary issue, why we did that, just in case when it was two in the first time? Selectman salary, why it's reduced, just in case.
I didn't bring the warrant or the RSA with me, but there was discussion amongst the Board of Selectmen in regards to changing or accepting the less salary than has been voted on by the town of Brookfield, or by the townspeople of Brookfield. It was changed, then it was changed back to the original $5,000 per select board, because that is something that the townspeople of Brookfield vote, and that is a contract between the townspeople and the individual select persons. A selectman has the right not to accept a full salary. There was a vote taken by the board to leave it at the correct rate and let the townspeople decide at the town's meeting if they wish to adjust that salary or not. It was a 2-to-1 vote.
That's it. Yeah, this was, yeah, no problem.
Any other questions about the budget? Craig's still digging.
I have
Yes, sir.
I just need some clarification on
State your name and where you live.
Ed Nason, Moose Mountain Road,
State which line item?
line item 4130.205.
4130. 43,
The selectmen's expenses.
okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I just clarification, I mean, I see that it wasn't proposed in 2012, but there was an actual,
Right, what that is the selectmen have a stipend of $75 a quarter per selectman for expenses. Cover his gas, cover little odds and ends that he does in order to do his job. It wasn't very clear that was there. So what we decided to do was to show it so everybody would know that it was there. So we broke it out into its own line item, and that is the $900 a year is for 3 selectmen at $75 a quarter for expenses of odds and ends, and that way the selectmen aren't turning in little slips of paper to the treasurer every week for
why shouldn't they?
expenses. It's the way it was set up long before me, and it's never been questioned or brought forth until today, or until this time. So we brought it out and posted it out, and if the town wishes to change that, then they can do it at the town meeting.
Okay, I mean, they gotta do it at the town meeting, I mean,
The townspeople set the selectmen's wages and any agreement between them for, I believe that's where this was set. I can't speak to that personally.
My concern is, I mean, if it's, $300 per selectman, and there's no transparency, let's use that term, is it 300 per selectman, or is it a combined total of 900 for the board? So if somebody doesn't have some, the other can use it, and if you don't use it, do you still get it?
No, it's $75 per selectman.
Just in addition to your salary?
Correct.
We don't speak that much. This has been in place, I don't remember, I can't say that a number was there, but it was been in place 12 years I've been on, and I was off 3, and Craig or you could answer, was it on those 3?
Yes, it was. It's
So,
it's-
15 years, and I never, it just, what was it?
I have no idea when it came into play or how it came into play. It's been there forever. And I don't think any selectman really put in for any expenses that they incur unless they're large expenses like buying of chairs
Right.
or things like that. Answer your question okay?
You answered my question.
Okay. Any other questions? Well, I'll give you all the time in the world. We got time.
No, I have a question. My name's Craig Evans, Moose Mountain Road.
Yes, sir.
Page 5 of the proposed town budget, total legal expenses. Is there something that you guys know that we don't know as to the significant increase?
Yes. There is a petition warrant article that is on the ballot this year.
Right.
And that is, and we have other possible litigation that's before the town.
Okay.
And that is just
Preemptive.
right, just to make sure that there's enough money in the legal budget to cover any legal expenses that are coming forth. We've got the Fairpoint thing going on, and that eats up money every month. So, the possibility of the petition warrant, if it passes or if it fails.
Yep.
Um,
Okay, so you're just planning ahead in
Yes.
case. Okay,
10 pages.
Yeah.
thank you.
Hi, Dick.
Sorry I'm taking so much.
No, take your time. We got time.
Smile for the camera.
He's taking my best side. Okay.
No comment.
We're still in the public comment section of the public hearing for the budget. Do you have the total of the difference between last year's proposed and this year's proposed?
It's on here.
It's like, no, it's not on here. I had it written down. It's like 15,000 something.
Oh, for that.
The last page, 15,400.
It cut off when I printed it. I don't know why it did that to me on mine.
The difference between. what was the
2012's proposed and
proposed?
2013's.
You look at that?
No, yeah, I was just doing the math. I
Oh.
was gonna have her do the math without, she's got that fancy machine over there, that all she has to do is put a little formula in there and it does everything for her.
15.3. You got a question?
15,467.
467?
Yes.
All right, thank you. How you doing, Dick? State your name and where you live.
Sure. Dick Peckham, Palmer Drive, Brookfield. Looking at the account 4130, what is the difference between board expenses, which is,
If you'd have been here 5 minutes earlier,
Oh,
you'd have heard it. I'll go over it again. The select board received a $75 a month stipend for expenses.
A quarter.
A quarter, sorry, not a month. A quarter for expenses per board member. So the total is $900. It's been that way for a very long time. The question was brought up this year about that. So we broke it out so that it was on a separate line item so that it could be seen that it was there.
is there a paper trail accountability for those expenses?
Never has been required or never been requested.
I've never seen that.
It's been
I've
there.
never seen that item broken out.
Because it's never been broken out before this year.
It's been that, the fact that they've been giving selectmen that, it's probably at least 15 years that's been there. It's never been broken out, but it's been
15
there.
plus.
So before it was built into.
You
board
remember that?
expenses?
Yes, it was just in the regular board expenses.
Receiving.
Oh, okay.
It was just built into the regular board expenses. It was never broken out on its own line
Is
item.
that a necessary item?
That's the public to decide.
Well, I mean, it was put in here by the selectmen.
No,
It was voted, I believe, and I'd have to look, I gotta find it. I believe it was given to, it was done at a town meeting.
No, what I mean is, I've never seen it in the budget.
That's because because somebody brought it up, so we broke it out of the regular board expenses and gave it its own line item so it could be seen.
So this can be changed from the floor,
Absolutely.
right? Okay.
And I think the purpose of doing it, I'm just making an assumption that the selectmen don't put in for mileage if they're going to Concord to meet with the Department of Revenue Administration,
True.
those types of things.
True, but
Whether it
everybody-
actually works out.
Every other elected official that has expenses has to put in an expense account. So there's a paper trail, accountability.
No. It's been done this way for 15 years, so I have no idea.
Like
At
I
least
said,
15.
I can't tell you when it started. There'd have to be some research done on that. So,
Okay? Did we overexpend our expenses for the board this year? I was just wondering why we don't staple this together. Make it a little easier to handle.
Because half of you want it stapled and half of you don't.
Is there a stapler in here?
There is, I'd be happy to
We rent
staple
a
yours.
staple.
I'll staple it.
Somebody give this man a staple.
it's 10 cents per staple. No.
Uh-oh. He's having trouble.
He's
Next to
using
the
the big
big
one.
Can you manage that, Dick?
Sorry, Ed, off the record.
Any other questions about the budget from the floor? Again, for those that just arrived, for 2012's budget, we came in $36,533 under budget. And the difference between this year's proposed budget and last year's proposed budget is a reduction of $15,467.
You might want to mention the strategy on the roads.
The strategy on the...
We're taking out less than we're putting in, significant, $20,000.
Yes, and our proposed, just for those people, if you go to page 10, line item 4904.500, we're proposing $43,000 worth of road improvements as a capital improvement this year, which is Upper Moose Mountain Road, and a survey on Bryce Drive, and potentially work on Lower and Upper Bryce depending on the money holds out. We are actually putting in $65,000 into the road and bridge repair to put extra money back into the road and bridge repair to build that back up for the next big project. Any other questions, concerns from the public? Hearing no further questions? One last shot? I will close the public comments to the budget hearing. Board comments? Nope. Hearing none, I will close the budget hearing, and we will post it by the posting date, February 25th. But we have to put it into the other format.
Yes.
All right, our guest has not arrived yet. I told him 6:45, so
Did you talk to him recently?
I have not talked to him since the last time that we scheduled this meeting. He hasn't contacted me to tell me he wasn't coming. Something I should know.
I know we had major issues
Oh,
since the last month.
I did not know that. That would be nice to know. All right, so then we'll go on to regular public comments. I think I can through this fast. Approval of minutes. We'll start with, put my eyeballs back on. January 22nd.
Remember which one I emailed you a change?
Right here. Now, I didn't do the changes because you had already given me changes when you had office hours with me.
Okay,
And then these, I don't know, you picked up some other ones after I did the final
okay.
thing. So I printed them, and if you want to discuss them, and I'll change it if it's...
Yeah, there are, you gotta make the changes Bill proposed. They're not in here. Under town clerk, page 2. You wanna read your changes, Bill? 'Cause you're
Yeah,
right on.
he's got it right.
I just have the comments here. It's regards to Virginia McGinley.
Yep.
I thought it was, I thought that this had to do with printing the ballots and who was responsible for printing the ballots. And just, this is what I sent to Jessica. I thought it was left that Virginia would do the ballots. And I put in parentheses, this is an old issue. We were doing them at one time, but it was really her responsibility. I would rather that she did them in case an error is made. On the third or fourth line from the bottom of this section, it mentions that Clifton's wife will be asked if she is interested in doing the ballots and town reports. It should say the town report rather than the ballots.
Yeah.
And in the first section, you were right on, we asked Virginia to do the ballot.
Right.
We agree. Okay, selectmen report. The town clerk to prepare the ballot. Virginia asked, we asked her to prepare the ballot.
Yeah, I didn't think there was a definite decision made, but, okay.
I believe there was.
I think she did say she.
Yes.
So we're taking out the word the ballots and just preparing the annual report.
We're doing that.
That's on the third. from
The
the
third from the bottom.
There's one up top where we talk about the town clerk. It is the responsibility of the town clerk to prepare the ballot. And you can say Virginia agreed to do that, or
Okay, that's fine.
Virginia agreed to do that. Then you go to Clifton's area.
Yep. Okay.
I have in here a type of ward expenses, type of quarter. That was, it's been a while since this.
Right down here on the bottom.
Jump back up to the town clerk. Selectman Camp stated he would ask Kathleen if she was interested in continuing to prepare the annual report, right, you got that? Not the ballot.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, good.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the one I
yeah.
have.
Yeah.
We just crossed it out.
Okay. Did you find what you're looking for?
And now, the other one I'm looking for, I have a note here, motion on salary. Where's the motion on salary? New business.
Isn't that on the January 26th one?
There's a motion.
Yes, it's on the 26th one.
Oh, I forget where you saw these things. That's it.
You said there was a typo on the board expenses quarterly? Right here. Second line, page 3, starts off Selectman Zacher. Wanted the public to be aware of the Selectmen's budget line 1403.200, which states that there is a board expense there is a $75 stipend, which is paid to each Selectman quarterly instead of quarter.
Oh, okay, got it.
This
Anything
other
else?
one has to do with the other ones.
Any other one on January 22nd?
No,
I'll accept a motion to accept as amended.
make the motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. January 26th.
I have on here, this is where it says, we're on the 26th motion, third line down. This is what I wrote. Selectman Nelson agreed that the salary should be adjusted, but this would best be done on the floor of the town meeting. I guess I've inserted the words, this would best be done. Yeah, I don't know if that's important. Yeah, that's all right, it's not bad.
There was 2 motions for the same thing that night?
One was for the budget,
You're
you know
right.
what I mean?
Yep,
And
yep,
then the
yep,
other-
yep.
Yeah,
I got it.
believe me, it was confusing.
I got it. That's right. Any changes?
No, that's all right.
Hearing none, I'll take a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the 26th as presented.
Second?
All those in favor? All right. That's done. Treasurer's report.
So we have checks to sign. And bills to approve. And bank statements.
My check here was with the wrong amount, the old $500 amount, so I've asked her to adjust it in the next pay. So you can print me another check. Okay, so everybody understands that? It's written for the 500. I said I would accept 350, so 350, yeah, whatever the number is. So rather than write a new check, I'll accept this, and then the next one she'll subtract that amount. unless you want to write a new one. It's up to you.
I can do either.
I don't know if anybody questions the amount. Let's look at what's up.
That was a postage receipt for Lisa.
$1,600.
Yes.
Okay.
I was trying to get these out in the mail since they've been in my box. And these are bills and the bank statements. You can do the bank statements with the mail if you want.
Okay.
I bet you're enjoying
He's got enough money here to buy me a mailbox.
Did they take out your mailbox?
Again.
No, we did not hit your mailbox.
No, he just dumped a bunch of snow in my driveway.
Hey. Talk to the guy upstairs, I didn't do it.
I guess we're done. Winter's over. Winter's over.
That's for the copier maintenance. And I guess George Nick was having trouble with it last night. It jammed on me tonight.
It jammed on me today, too.
So could you call and ask them to come out and service it?
Sure.
Didn't they just come out and do it?
No, that's just the meter
Oh,
reading.
that's okay.
This is the last snowstorm. Does that include?
That's up until.
2/9.
Yeah.
2/9.
It says right there.
So winter maintenance is $10,000 on this one. 10/7.
No, look at the bottom left side.
Clean
Winter
up down.
maintenance, winter maintenance is the total of the black line.
Okay, and that is 79.27. And clean up down trees, remove trees, brush it up, backhoe chainsaw, that is 28.
That's summer, basically it's stuff that I would normally do in the summer, but I have a chance to do.
That's a receipt that,
Okay, just wanted to write it
for
down.
Diana, that got in with my budget information and was never paid to her, poor thing.
This one?
Yeah, so I owe her. It was a Saturday meeting here.
This is conservation bill.
Yes. The dues for conservation.
How long is the contract on the phone that you use?
It's an ongoing thing, and you haven't had it a year yet. The
I
new
wonder
one.
if we, no, I
You have
wonder,
had the new one a year?
Oh, the new one? I don't know.
I thought you got it last
Probably, yeah.
calendar year.
I'm wondering if we'd pay to go to a track phone.
No.
I don't know, I don't know how many,
The problem with track phones is getting service up there.
okay, I'm just,
You'd have, the only one that gives you reliable coverage up here is Verizon. So you'd have, if you did go to a track phone, it would have to be a track phone that had Verizon on it.
yeah, I have no idea how many minutes it's used or what, I don't know how often you're called or anything.
You can see on there.
I should tell you on the bill.
200, mobile to mobile's 360.
That's just for this month.
260.
Night and weekends is 178.
No, it takes care
And
of
the
that.
calling plan is 260.
And three text messages. So you texted him?
Oh, we always
She's forcing
text.
me into the new age.
No, I just,
Instead of calling, it's easy. Can you come in
It
and
actually,
sign? It's great.
it is because a lot of that is rather than people call back.
So I should text you and call you?
And they'll leave a message. Then I gotta answer the message, and then a lot of times I gotta call that person back. So there's 3 phone calls where they could either text me or don't leave a message and just call me back in a few minutes.
So if you want a response from him, I guess you have to text him instead of calling.
It'll probably get fast, I don't know, but. When did
Depending
you-
what the
when did
message
you
is?
call me? Because I got it at 11 o'clock last night. When they came across with the alert that there was a message. I don't know when, I got yours at 11 too, Bill, I don't know when you called me.
Probably
a
about,
lot earlier. 11 o'clock last night?
probably about 7:38.
It varies, sometimes I get them instantly, sometimes I won't get them for days. That's why I just assume people's, oh, I didn't get him, I'll wait 10 minutes and call them back.
Sounds like selective answering to me.
Hey, I call everybody back as if it was selected, I wouldn't do it. I'd be losing my phone.
All right. Anything else from the treasurer?
Nope.
All right. Tax collector? Nothing? Town clerk's not here. Administrative assistant, assessor clerk.
The only thing I have, I just received this letter in the mail today regarding a VTLA case for Peter Holland.
Can we back up for a second? Let's finish this.
Yes, please. Stay focused.
Now, I thought with a case like that, I thought the selectmen were supposed to also meet with Avatar and the person.
If it has to go to that. I think there was a, isn't this one of those ones that we got from the board saying that we needed to set up a meeting and try to work it out?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
but this was pure assessment, so Avatar could handle it. The other,
Avatar, yeah, they just went out, I didn't even know. And they went out and I just got the letter, this letter.
So let's
So is it?
have Avatar, have him present the evidence to Avatar and see, and if it's not, if we don't make the changes,
Well,
then.
this came from Avatar.
this is the.
Yeah, but he's requesting to see where the board wants to go with it.
Right, so I wanted to know, are you guys okay? Do we go to VTLA on this? Because,
No, we can go to we can do the mediation thing. I don't think it's that hard. If he's got evidence that says that the valuation's not what it should be, present it. If it's right, then it's changed and we move on.
I have a question for you on the evaluation. I think everybody in here's property's valuation has gone down, if you're going by what it could be sold for. I mean, my house could be sold just because the economy and all the houses for sale in Brookfield would be less. I assume that's somehow worked in because everybody's in the same bond, buying. How long has he had this property?
2 years, 3 years?
Which
So-
property is it?
It's on Wentworth Rd, 109, but
Only 2, he said.
has
Yeah,
it?
yeah, he's been
But I
there.
thought he got it from the family or something. Wasn't that, it was in her family and then they bought it? They actually bought it from the family, from the trust or
Okay,
something.
that's-
I thought that's
that's
how it
probably
worked.
what it is.
Okay.
So if somebody bought my house today and say it's listed as 200,000 and they bought it for 150, what would it be? Then would it go down to 150
No,
or?
they haven't, no. I set it up for a reinspection, come in April, or February-ish, something like that. They come out and they look at it, reevaluate it, but I really haven't seen much of a change.
It doesn't have the.
Okay, no,
Same
I'm just-
market value, but I
Letter.
haven't seen much of a change, so.
And is that adjusted if everybody's home now, let's make believe it's worth $20,000 less, have they made that adjustment?
No, they won't do that until they do the whole town
Right.
evaluation.
The town would go.
Because otherwise, you're making whole town reevaluations every year.
Mhm.
And that's why they've set it up on a 5-year plan. Unless you hit a certain level at that 3-year mark. And if the evaluations have gone way down or way up at that 3-year mark, then they do the evaluation at the 3-year mark, instead of waiting to the 5 to adjust.
So do you want me to call him, set him up?
Well, that's not what it says, right?
No, this is saying,
he said-
Avatar is saying that
Last sentence.
I do feel this is the best course of action in the town, and should the town wish to proceed, please notify me and I will contact Mr. Holland so we can sign the mediation letter. So basically, he'll contact me, if we want to proceed to mediation, which I think is better than going to the VTLA.
I thought it was, he did the mediation.
After visiting the property, I found some changes should be made. However, they do not come close to reaching the value of $630,000, which Mr. Holland expresses is the value he would settle. I cannot recommend in good faith to other taxpayers to settle without all the evidence. I would recommend for now going forward, he does recommend going
Yeah,
forward to
to
the VTLA, at which point Mr. Holland will have to give us any evidence he plans to present at the hearing. Then after receiving this evidence, I would feel more comfortable recommending changes, and the case may be able to be settled. I do feel this is the best course of action.
So we go to BTLA.
Go to VTLA.
Okay, that's what I wanted to see, if that's okay.
That's the recommendation.
All right.
Can we back up for a moment to town clerk?
Are we done with the assessor clerk?
Oh,
Is that the only thing you got?
I have just a timber tax warrant that I need you to sign.
How much is the warrant for?
423, is that?
424. Do we need to sign these other pages as well?
Yes. Sorry, 2 pages.
I didn't understand that question.
I was asking how much the warrant
Oh,
was for.
timber tax warrant.
Yes, this one.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
You were so sorry.
I didn't see that number.
I just wondered if it was going to be bringing in $7,000 or $424. Or even cover Virginia's mileage.
Now I have an update on the other BTLA case. So maybe after the meeting is done, you could do non-public.
Public.
Yep,
Okay.
okay. Thank you, all set. No more.
No more? All right. Where do you want to back up to?
Town clerk, I've had one person email me as a state rep, and I had a couple of people mention to me as citizen, they both were all citizens, concerned with the lack of hours in the evening by Virginia. Now, I know Virginia gets to set her own hours. I did happen to stop by Department of Motor Vehicles and ask them, what do we do in this case? Because some people work different hours. She gave some things that were possible, if Virginia was willing. There are other nights that they're open till 7:30. They have their people there to help out, like I think it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. That would mean that she'd have to adjust her hours. And there are other ways that they could work with her to shut down later. And they had this, I don't know, I'm not going to get into that, but there were other ways that she could close down the books a little bit later. And it was a process to go through. I had somebody call me up, another supervisor, but unfortunately we lost the name in the paper shuffle and the telephone number to call them back. And I know that's not up to us to set the ground rules for Virginia, but it's just something that was, I wanted to check on because it was asked by 3 people. So, let them take it on.
Well,
My own-
I mean, we can present it to her and see where it goes from there.
Making a suggestion. Yep.
Or the townspeople can do it at town meeting and set her hours for her.
Can they do that? They can let her know they're unhappy.
They're the ones that set her salary.
Okay. Whatever. I don't want to get into the,
I was gonna say, what are we gonna do with it? Just, I mean, it's good information, we
We
just
just
talk to her.
yeah, we just need to take it to her. Pass it on to her and,
You can do it.
yeah, take it.
are we done with town clerk now?
Yep.
All right. Agricultural Commission, Cemetery Trustees. Code Enforcement.
Kind of slow. Had one permit on map 25 lot 7 for a 3-season room. That's about it for the code enforcement.
Road agent.
Yes. Great white stuff out there, huh? Actually, we fared very well, I think, with the storm.
Are all the roads opened up to total width?
The width is not. That's what we were waiting for today, to get the tar clear, because there's a lot of force when you push them back, and if the roads aren't clear, it won't do it. It'll actually just push the truck to the side. So we cleared them today, and we plan on start pushing everything back tomorrow.
Okay. Anything else from the road end?
Maybe I gotta bring my mailbox in.
They got a
Short
text.
order pallet of mailboxes.
It says mailbox.
All right. Conservation Commission? Emergency Management? Forest?
Was there a hazmat meeting, Bill?
Yes, we were here, I was here, and we went on to 8 o'clock. One of the concerns that she had was that we're not going to, remember, our hours being at this thing counted toward working off some of our matching money. And we had a very poor attendance, so in other words, if we had 20 people, that would really bring up the matching numbers, but we only had a handful of people here, 2 or 3. So I think they counted like $25 an hour or something like that. So that would only count 75 toward what we have to match with by having people come at a meeting. Now, I suggested to Brad that maybe at our town meeting, I don't know if they can do this, make a presentation for, say, 20 minutes, have everybody at the meeting sign into the position they have in town, you know, and 3 people equal 1, and maybe we could come up with the money that way so we wouldn't have to pay.
Well, you could do it from 7 to 7:20.
Right, 3 people.
That would give the moderator time to get the ballots finished counting.
Okay.
Because they don't normally get over there until 20 after anyway.
But I think by doing that and everybody signing in, whether they're on the conservation committee, whatever they're on, and then we presented to them, yes, we had 100 people at the meeting, so we only counted 30 of them. Because we're going to get 20.
I think that would be a great way to get everybody's attention, because most of the people will be there.
I don't know if they'll accept it, but it seems reasonable.
If it's a meeting, it's a meeting, right? Regardless of where it's
I don't
at.
think so. Otherwise, we got to hit
That
some
way you
people
have
over
a
that
captive
come.
audience, actually, at that point.
Right. And it's information that they would find useful.
But does the lady have to be there at the meeting to have it count?
She was a little skeptical at first that this was going to work. And I emailed Brad to see if he would suggest seeing if this could be done. Because it is a captive audience, because you have all different committees represented, it's certainly a good cross-section of people to do a summary. I have not heard back from Brad.
But does the lady have to be in
I do not know that. It would be on tape, I would think, so she would have proof we had the meeting.
You have a meeting, coming up the 29th, right?
I don't remember the date,
This
this one
month.
coming up.
Has anybody contacted the various committees?
I believe Brad has done that, I don't, it's not mine.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I got an email, and there was 2 other names on the email. And it wasn't because I was on a conservation commission or anything.
Okay.
I think if you notified the various committees, that people would come.
Now I think about it, I think Brad contacted like the police chief, the fire department, those types of people.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did internally all that.
Right, I don't think internally, because Doug, I got Doug to come, he didn't know anything about it. I couldn't come, I was sick in bed, but I would have been here.
We could do it on the February 26th meeting, which is the next selectmen's meeting.
Well, if she's coming on the 29th, I
I
don't have
think
my
it's the
book.
29th.
I know she's coming again, I don't have it on its own.
I checked it this morning, and that's what it looked like. But
Okay,
I think an email going out to all the committees,
right. That might get us there quicker.
yeah, and explain why they should go, what the benefit is going to be to the town.
And your time is worth about $25 an hour?
I think it's 27.
27?
actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's no exam.
See, I'm a state rep here at
That's always
$100,
good.
I'm beginning to wonder.
All right, anything else?
Nope.
Forest Fire Warden. Heritage Commission.
The Heritage Commission will be having a breakfast on March 16th, the day before St. Patrick's Day, Saturday morning. The Saturday after the town meeting and election. We'll have French toast and all that good stuff. And I will do a poster for someone to post to the website.
All right. Joint Loss Management Quarterly. Did we ever get that resolved?
No.
All right. Planning Board.
This is the report from February 4th, 2012. The board voted to accept the verbiage to be added to the 3 ballot questions: funnel development, farm stand structures, and home occupations. The board also voted to incorporate the working document titled Site Plan Review Checklist into the rules of procedure, and we officially assigned and certified it. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Web Statistics is due on April 9th. Other boards and committees? Hearing none. Old business. 2013 warrant articles. As it stands of the printing of this one, there are 16 warrant articles. The first 5 are to be voted on by ballot. The first one being the town officers for the coming years. Number 2 is a zoning ordinance on home occupation. The third one will be a zoning ordinance on setback farm stand structures. The fourth one is a warrant article on zoning ordinance non-permitted uses.
Well, isn't that supposed to be the FEMA one? Where's the FEMA one?
It wasn't submitted to me.
There was a public hearing on it, it has to go on. Remember we had a hearing on FEMA for the flood control? I don't know what non-permitted use means.
That means what they're doing is they're changing the non-permitted use area. That one's a housekeeping one. They're taking the non-permitted uses out of where it's at currently and putting it into the actual zoning area that it belongs in. So it's a housekeeping thing.
The FEMA one, I can't.
The FEMA, I remember that now, and I'll have to get with George.
For us to get flood insurance for some of the residents, we have to redefine our floodplain to be consistent with what FEMA wants to the public.
Yep.
There it is.
Okay, there we go.
Right, it's the floodplain management measures. And there was some language that they had to change in the floodplain language, which had to be put forth to the townspeople in order to qualify, to stay in qualification for federal flood insurance.
You're going to check with George?
Yeah, I'm gonna call George and find out where that language is. So that'll be 17 warrants. And number 5 will be the FEMA one. And number 6 is a petition warrant for recreational resort campground and town beach zone. So that'll make 7, 8. All right. Number 7, per RSA 35:15, to see the municipality will vote to appoint the selectmen as agents to expend from the town cemetery capital reserve fund previously established in 2003. The selectmen do or do not recommend this appropriation. It's a majority vote required. This was put on, but it was never discussed and voted on by the board whether or not we wanted to put it into the warrant. So we need to discuss that. Need a motion, a second, and a vote.
I'll make a motion that we include that on the warrant, article number 7 as read.
Any second?
Any other discussion?
The purpose of, you understand the purpose? The purpose is so that if we want to take money out of the capital reserve fund to do something for the cemetery, we do not have to call a special town meeting. This authorizes the selectmen to use the money from that fund as designated by the warrant article. So we save a town meeting.
What do you mean, to do something for the cemetery?
If we want to buy land for a cemetery,
Okay.
if we want to do something in the cemetery space.
Yeah, because I think that warrant was specifically set up to buy land.
Okay, then this would say if we're going to buy land, the selectmen can do that. You can't change the purpose of the warrant.
Right.
But you don't need the town meeting, the special town meeting.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right?
Are we recommending this one? I would assume by our votes we are.
Okay. Are you in agreement? We're recommending?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Can we go back to what would now be warrant article 6? Warrant article by petition, recreational resort campground.
On town beach zone?
Yeah, I was thrown by the terminology town beach zone. So I just picked up the application, and the way it reads is recreational resort campground and town beach access zone.
Good point. Thank you.
I put those on here just so everybody knew what they were gonna be on the ballot.
Okay,
I will actually have the correct wording and everything.
okay, good.
I couldn't remember.
Because I didn't think we had a town beach. I don't think we're going to have a town beach. Beach access, of course, is a little different.
Okay. Number 8, per RSA 35:15, to see if the municipality will vote to appoint the selectmen as agents to expend from the Park and Recreational Equipment Capital Reserve Fund previously established in 1990. Again, there was no motion or vote on this, so we need to make it official.
What would be the purpose of doing it this way?
The purpose of doing it this way is the same as above. If we want to take money out of the capital reserve fund, we have to either authorize it at a town meeting or have a special town meeting.
Now, this is for equipment.
It does not change the purpose of the warrant. So
Okay.
if the warrant says equipment, then it's equipment. It just says we can expend it throughout the year with our approval.
This is the town money portion.
Okay?
This is the one that was created at a town meeting with taxpayer money.
So if we wanted to buy one of these old trucks where kids climb on,
I'll make sure.
Oh, I can see the liability insurance cost on this one.
We can mark that out there.
You're gonna make them round all the edges and
Right.
soft and everything? Don't need it.
If we thought that was a prudent thing to do,
Mr. Nason,
In the would-be Article 7, I see the urgency.
we're past 7.
But I'm explaining my concern
Okay.
for what would be 8. I see the urgency to, if a cemetery plot comes up, that rather than create a special town meeting and all that to get the money, I don't see that for this article. Equipment fund, I think, I would recommend that you do not recommend this, because the equipment can wait, the purchase of equipment can wait to have it at a town meeting so the people can decide what equipment to buy. Understand what, I mean, there's no reason to have this here, to authorize the selectmen to buy equipment without the town's approval, because there's no urgency. And the townspeople really should decide what they want to buy.
That's a good point.
I agree, it's a good point.
So if you haven't actually voted to put it on there, maybe you don't want to put it on there.
Could be plausible. Any other comments?
Totally agree.
Okay.
So let's vote on that last article, last recommendation, and move on with it.
So are we removing with 8? We're removing warrant Article 8, and we're not putting it on the warrant? Since we haven't made a motion and voted on to put it on yet.
Well, you wouldn't be removing it if you hadn't voted to put it on.
Right, well, I'm going to strike it, is what I mean. All right. The new number 8, now I got to repaginate. To see if the town will vote to raise the hourly wage from $7.25 per hour to $9 per hour for the members of the supervisor of the checklist for services performed. If this article passes, $9 per hour will be the compensation for the members of the supervisors of the checklist in the operating budget in 2013.
Question?
Yeah.
What about 2014?
It's a whole nother year. Whole nother budget cycle.
Well, I mean, should we just,
Leave it open-ended?
Just take that last phrase out, in the operating budget for 2013.
So just take out in 213.
Fine.
So supervisors of the checklist in the operating budget, period.
Yep.
Motion to put it on?
you move?
Second it?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Recommend or not recommend?
Aye? Yes?
Recommend.
Yes.
Recommend.
All right. The rest of these, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500 to be added to the capital reserve fund known as the Scholastic Recognition Award Fund.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay?
Got a whole bunch of issues coming down with the Scholastic Award Fund. The basic one is, we've got $32,000 in there, and we're pulling out $500 a year, if I'm reading this right.
No, we pull out 1,500, we pay 1,500 a year, the selectmen,
$750.
we're paying out 1,500.
Well, help me read this. It says Scholastic Recognition Award, right now $31,000, and then Award B, which must be the public fund, is $8,000.
$750 is what we pay. Oh, we actually paid $1,500 this
We
year.
pay
Why?
1,500 every year
So we,
$750 from each fund.
from each fund,
so we've got
500 from the selectmen. But when I get the check from the trustee of the trust funds, it's for $1,500 to go to that student.
Okay, my point is, we got $40,000 in the fund. If we keep going to $15,000 a year, we got many years' worth of funds coming out of that. Plus, we have the other issue of whether the fund's adequate or not. So I don't think we should put any more money into the fund.
What do you mean the fund is, whether or not the fund is adequate?
Oh, okay. There was a discussion, we received a letter concerning our scholarship award process. And the way the warrant article was written way back when,
Right, okay.
it was for people going to the public schools.
Right.
We tried to see if we could change this to include non-public schools and schools not in town.
And homeschoolers.
And homeschoolers. He was homeschoolers.
Right.
Lawyer says you can't do it. You got to go to probate court to get this changed. So this is, my take on this is if we ever want to put a new fund in place that's more general.
Well, that's where we should be putting our funds,
Yes.
not into one that
Yes.
is deficient.
And the only way we can close this down, because we can't take the money out,
Is to spend it.
is to spend it
And $1,500
And-
back.
the way it was.
20 years.
There you go. There you go.
At today's interest, yeah.
So I suggest we stop funding this one. We got 20 years to figure out if we're going to create the new one and how we're going to deal with it. But I don't think we want to put any more money into this one.
Okay, the way that this fund was set up was to award the highest high school GPA person. And I did speak to Laura on this. It does not say public schools.
Right.
It says the highest Brookfield resident with the highest GPA, which includes homeschoolers if they could move theirs and get it their GPA certified, so that there is a way to give them a GPA. I'm not sure if there is for homeschoolers or not. But homeschoolers could technically receive this award if they had the highest GPA of the senior class for that year.
Right.
And there's, the one thing that there's not a restriction. So somebody could move in a month before school ends and have the highest GPA and qualify for this award. So there's no time restriction saying that you have to be a resident for a year. Some of the new language, that was proposed, they had a 1-year restriction on it.
I'm not sure there wasn't a 1 year at one point. You had to be here for at least a year.
Well, you have to look at the original warrant. The way the original warrant is written,
We looked that up, right?
We did.
It was one way, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden that wording was changed.
what was voted on at town meeting.
Right.
That's what
Whatever is
counts.
in the town clerk's record.
Right, that's what matters.
That's.
However that's worded is how you have to live, that's how that fund has to be run.
What's printed in your town report is not official. What the town clerk records as the official minutes of that meeting, that's what the warrant article was.
Well, I'm just looking back without going to her things, in the town reports, we looked this up a couple of weeks ago. It was 1 year, and all of a sudden, that 1 year disappeared. It was shortened. I don't know why, or it was just rewritten. So Virginia has to be the.
Yeah, we have to get the official records out of there.
But that only deals with the residency. That's what we're talking about, whether it's 1 year or longer.
Right, but it doesn't matter where they go to school. If they're a Brookfield resident, and they're a senior, and they have the highest GPA, they get the award.
And we heard a presentation from Stephanie that indicated homeschoolers generally don't have GPAs.
But that was the question, can they get a GPA through, because they belong to the school district, even though that they don't go to the school district, they have access to the school districts. They can do band there, they can do sports there, they can do anything that they need to through the school district. So the question is there a way to get their homeschool grades transferred over to a GPA? And then they would qualify for the award that's currently set up in place.
I think that would be a very difficult thing, how a homeschooler arrives at their grades versus, say, Kingswood.
Well, there's a curriculum that they're supposed to follow.
Homeschoolers choose their curriculum. That's the reason they homeschool. They don't like the particular, one of the major reasons, they don't like the curriculum that the public schools use.
But-
So there could be numerous curriculums sure you could do it, it would not be easy.
Yes, sir.
You made the comment, Rich, you made the comment that we'd have 20 years to decide. Another way of looking at it is we could decide to stop funding the current fund and continue to distribute from that fund. But we could also, by warrant article, create a whole new fund that would have to be very cleverly worded to be able to meet this whole thing about the GPAs. And we could then choose to fund that.
That's right.
And not wait 20 years to distribute from it, but could be doing 2 scholarship funds. One that meets the old funds definition and one that meets the new,
So for a period of
diverse-
time, you would have 2 awards.
Yes.
That's right.
So technically, one person could win 2 awards if they meet both qualifications.
Unless you,
Limit on how much they could get.
yeah, unless you say, you know, a
1,500
recipient
per.
is only allowed to win one of the 2 awards. I mean, I don't know. My question, another question is, a kid who's homeschooled, do they get a diploma from Governor Wentworth? How, if they decide to go to college? What do they-
Transcripts, you save, you develop a transcript.
Okay,
You can, some of the curriculum places where you buy curriculum, if you stick with them through the high school years, they will mail you a diploma.
okay.
Um,
So the regional school district does not issue a diploma to a kid who was homeschooled? Okay.
No, it's through the curriculum, if you stay with one curriculum through the years.
How is this recognized by the New Hampshire Department of Education, who controls all the school districts?
The curriculums have to meet their specifications. They have to
So
meet
the
certain
curriculums
requirements.
that the homeschoolers
Yep.
use.
And they are graded on, they're supposed to be graded on those curriculums, correct? I don't
No,
homeschool.
actually, you can have a certified teacher's evaluation, you could do standardized testing, or you could do, there are other tests.
But there's a way to grade them to ensure that they've learned the material and that they've actually passed it. It's not just a way to keep your kids home and work them in the backyard and say you graduated school.
I don't know, it seems like there should be some sort of a diploma coming from the district or the state for these homeschoolers.
You have to understand, it's a lot of, even though it's legal in New Hampshire, a lot of school districts and the administrator in charge of that stuff aren't always homeschool friendly.
Do they take SATs to get into college?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I would assume they do.
they do.
And they also assemble a portfolio of their work. And they
Correct.
bring that to their college admission person.
My daughter applied for college last fall, and that's what she just brought her transcripts of all the stuff she had done. You know, they were asking for a diploma, she said, I have none, I was homeschooled. Well, then let me see a transcript. So she got her stuff together, brought it in, and she was accepted.
So there's no competitive SAT exam then?
My oldest, my first completed homeschool child, what she did, because she wanted closure, is she went and took the GED, which gives them a placement.
Yeah, but GED has nothing to do with SAT scores.
Right.
I mean,
A homeschooler could take, I think, I would suspect, could take the SAT.
I would hope so.
I mean, anybody, I could go take the SAT if I was willing to pay the money and face the
The gruel.
consequences
The
of
most-
not passing it.
Most universities today, that's what they base the entrance on, is a competitive score from SATs.
Right.
We had a couple of people put together a proposed warrant article that was tried to deal with all these issues, and it's very, very challenging. I don't have a copy of that with me, Phil. Did you bring a copy?
No.
Oh, Jessica.
Well, and,
Hang on just a second.
That's why she gets the big bucks.
the attorney actually, she just structured it to make it.
Is this the new one?
That's the new
Did
one.
you get
Okay.
the thing from
Because I haven't seen this
Mrs.
yet.
Marsh that I emailed over to you?
Yeah, I have that, yeah, it's on my email, but I figured,
This is the language that was being proposed. To see if the town will vote to establish an expendable trust fund pursuant to RSA 31:19-A to be known as the Brookfield Academic Achievement Scholarship Award Expendable Trust Fund, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $500 to be placed in that fund. Private donations, gifts, legacies, and devices may be utilized for the same purposes. However, pursuant to RSA 31:19-A6, those private donations, gifts, legacies, and devices shall be invested in an account for separately and not commingled with amounts appropriated by the town. Further, to appoint the Board of Selectmen as agent to expend from this fund, the Brookfield Academic Achievement Award will be awarded annually to the Brookfield students graduating from high school with the highest level of academic achievement. Students from Kingwood Regional High School, private schools, and home education programs are eligible. The winner will be selected by the Academic Achievement Award Committee, comprised of 3 residents chosen by the selectmen for a 1-year term. The committee will choose the recipient of the award through examination of submitted application, including a transcript, GPA, and achievement and aptitude test scores. The candidate must demonstrate that the funds will be used for continuing their formal education. The application form, supporting materials, and overall criteria may be modified by the Academic Achievement Award Committee with the approval of the selectmen.
Could you get that thing?
email?
Yeah, please. I emailed Mrs. Marsh with some questions that I had and her responses. I had every forwarded to everybody.
See, the way that I just read that, and maybe I just read it wrong, but it says it has to have the highest level of academic achievement. The application you have to have transcripts, GPA, and achievement and aptitude test scores. You have to have all that.
I would only see it acceptable if it said and or.
Right.
In other words, those were the standardized measurements that were acceptable,
Right.
but not all 3.
Or say such as. those
Oh, there you go,
things.
such as.
Jessica, is this what the lawyer suggested, or is this what the committee has finally come up
Now,
with?
this is the email that Bill, that's the most recent.
That's what the lawyer suggested
Yeah.
last shot.
Okay. What I heard from Stephanie was that she still had a lot of concerns about what the lawyer had suggested and about the lawyer's degree of understanding of this problem. So this is still a work in progress.
Yeah, the way.
Right, and this is not ready to go on the warrant for town meeting.
The way you just read it, I had the same reaction
You
to
gotta have-
those
you have
3
to-
items.
you
It's
have to
like,
meet all 3 of
it's
those
making it
requirements.
worse, not better.
It would
Not
be easier for
more.
homeschoolers to get their stuff put over to a GPA than to come up with all 3 of those requirements.
I emailed Mrs. Marsh because it says, the application sheet, there's a second sheet that you fill out applying for this grant. And on that, it says, public school, application sheet mentions, public school, charter, independent, religious, or homeschool. But the warrant article says private schools and home education. Kingswood, private schools and home education. So there was a difference in the wording on the application part.
Versus the warrant.
So this is what she came back with. Actually, the warrant article should probably say public school, charter, independent, religious, or home education. Charter schools aren't exactly public. Or there may be a student who is tuitioned to another school like Spalding, and they should be eligible too. And there could be a reason that they would we don't have anybody I know of in a religious school, but they could go to St. Thomas's. I don't think we have anybody at Kingswood, but I think also the doubling
We have
up-
lots of people at Kingswood.
Oh, Spalding, sorry, Kingswood.
Under the current one, the way that the conversation with Laura and I went is because it says it says the student with the highest GPA includes all the schools currently, whether it's Brewster, St. Thomas, if they're over in Spalding, if they're a Brookfield resident and they submit their GPA to the trustee of the trust funds who oversees this award, they are eligible for this award as it sits right now.
And I was at, just for information, I was at a trustee of the trust fund meeting. They do not pick the person. The person we found out was selected by the guidance counselor in Wolfboro. That's how it's done. The guidance counselor.
At Kingswood.
At Kingswood. So everybody, the trustees of the trust fund were very clear. They do not select it. And when they peeled the onion back, Tom Gagir peeled the onion back, it was the guidance counselor in Wolfboro that made the recommendation.
So how is that?
There you go.
That's very exclusive.
There you
Very,
go.
yeah, how did that include the Brewster?
So,
Okay, so that needs to be rectified immediately.
Certainly, a warrant article along these tones is talking about an independent
yes,
assessment group.
Right.
Appointed by the
Select board.
Right.
yes. So, given all the work that's taken place with this new warrant article, it may or may not be ready, it's not going to be ready for this year, what do we want to do with the $500 that we're contributing to the old scholastic fund?
Don't do anything this year.
Right.
Don't contribute anything.
We got 20 years worth of $1,500.
So isn't there some parameter that all these groups could present for the selection process, like SAT score?
GPA.
No, GPA doesn't apply to the homeschoolers.
Under the current one, the GPA is the only acceptable method.
I know, but
Right.
under the new one.
Right, that's why.
Wouldn't you say an SAT score?
Yeah, that's why it
such and
says,
such?
that's why it says here that it's got to be transcript, GPA, and achievement and aptitude scores. But it should say and/or. That's what I'm getting. So they don't have to meet all those requirements. They just have to have something to pull it again. But how do you look at a GPA of one student, an SAT at somebody else? If you're not measuring them all on the same level.
I'm saying just have one parameter.
Right.
SAT score. You're looking at me like I'm nuts, but
No,
that's
I know
what people have
SAT.
to do to get into college today. They have to take SAT exams.
No, you made a good point.
And the issue that was raised when the committee was meeting was, you might have an excellent student that's not going to go to college, but to a trade school. And he doesn't have to take an SAT.
It's specified GPA, isn't it? in the thing?
So he could have an excellent, he or she could have an excellent GPA, go into a trade school, would be the candidate. If we force them to take the SAT, the person could do very poorly on that. A lot of these issues were discussed.
Right.
I guess the answer is requiring the SAT as the only criterion would be simple, but it's too simple.
Yeah.
So we can't do that.
So maybe Brookfield needs to create its own test. And everybody has to take that test and the highest score wins.
The language you read with all those and/or, as Craig suggested.
Yeah, but
would-
some of them,
would
then
do
you're
it.
then you're looking at comparing apples and oranges, because a GPA and an SAT are two different tests. I mean, that's two different ways of measuring the student's abilities.
No, but you have a committee of three people, three
Right.
wise and smart people who are weighing
We
all
hope.
these apples and oranges and coming up with the right fruit salad.
Here's one candidate right here.
So,
Needs a
Okay.
wise man.
so we wish to take the $500 warrant off of the warrant.
Yep, and out of the budget.
And
Oh,
budget's closed.
It's gonna change anyway.
It becomes padding. No.
Okay, I see, yep.
No, you're gonna take the 500 out.
You don't have to spend it.
That's right.
Right, you don't have to spend it, it comes back.
It could be there.
We just don't want to put it into that trust.
Reopen the hearing. I make a motion. I would encourage the selectmen to pursue what they've already started with this and to work with Mrs. Marsh and whoever else to come up with something that's equitable for the town of Brookfield.
And the board will. It's just a matter, it's not ready to go to warrant right now.
Well, I can imagine the discussion at town meeting, trying to help people understand why we're not funding the old one, which of course has a whole history in town, and why we're trying to make it a little more diverse and more expansive, and how we're gonna do that. I mean, I don't
Thank you.
think I want to be there for the discussion. So not this year.
Okay. So we're striking out what would have been number 9,
Yes.
previously 10. Okay, so that one's gone. To see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate $65,000 to be added to the Road and Bridge Capital Reserve Fund. We recommend this fund, this appropriation, which is a standard one. That's going to add $22,000 back to our road fund, which would put us back up over $100,000 in the fund. To see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $43,000 for major repairs of the town roads to be funded, and to fund this appropriation by authorizing the withdrawal of said sum from the Road and Bridge Capital Reserve Fund. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. I always love this. You put it in and then you pull it right back out, some of it, so. To see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $500 to be added to the Conservation Fund. To see if $500 will be added to the Heritage Fund.
Now, that's questionable.
All right, let's strike them both.
I'm just,
To see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $1,250 to be added to the Capital Reserve Fund, known as the Town Cemetery Fund. This is to purchase land for a new cemetery, because we're not stacking.
So what if you were to take the 500 that's not going to get spent on the scholastic fund and add it to the cemetery fund? Could you do that by warrant article and then but that would, I don't know how you.
Can't change the
You'd have to
purpose
amend it on the
of the
floor.
warrant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'd have to amend that on the floor.
okay. Okay.
To see if the town will vote and raise $8,000 to be added to the Property Reevaluation Expendable Trust Fund. This is our yearly donation to our auditors to get our 5-year cycle paid off. So what we've done is we put $8,000 each year away, and then on the 5th year, we withdraw that money to pay for the town's reevaluation, so we're not raising $30,000 to $40,000 in 1 year. So we break it over a couple of years. You got a question on that? Okay. You took your, it didn't sound like you were thinking. I was like, okay, hang on, give time.
Cooties.
And to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $633,219.
790.
No, because we just took 500 out.
You didn't take it out, I said you didn't have to spend it.
Well, that's
Do I have
right.
to
So
take it out?
$719, I stand corrected, for the town operating budget. Said sum does not include special or individual warrant article. It didn't include that one
but
anyway.
that's a problem, because you have $500, oh, you just, because it doesn't have to be by
Think of it
warrant
like a
article.
selectman's salary. You have the option of doing it if you want to, but you don't have to spend it.
You can make a budget for whatever it is, and if nobody spends it, then the money's still there.
Okay, no, I just don't want people to be.
This is before what warrants anyway, so it is $633,719 for the town operating budget. Said sum does not include special or individual articles addressed in this warrant. The selectmen recommend this appropriation.
So, just that you understand, so on our budget, we have scholastic fund warrant article, $500. We're gonna change the wording on that and leave the 500 in, but just say no warrant article. I'm on page 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that won't be a warrant article this year,
It's just gonna be scholastic fund.
$500.
So we take warrant article off.
Yep. Now, wait a minute, you can't do that.
That's what I'm asking.
You can't do that because that's transfer to capital reserves, that's a warrant. We have to take it all the way out.
Okay.
If the town passes it as a warrant article, you have to spend it,
That's right.
That's what I thought.
because that's what the town meeting has said.
Right.
If it's in the budget, we can play games with it.
No, because it's under transfer to capital reserve. If the town passes this budget as it sits, even if we took those words out of there, because that's a transfer to capital reserve fund, it has to be transferred to the capital reserve. You're putting $500 in that fund, whether we have it here as a warrant or not.
What about from the floor? Somebody makes a motion, because it is a line item.
It is, but there's no, but that usually has a corresponding warrant article. And because there's no longer a corresponding warrant article, then it should just come out and be done with it.
Pardon me?
I'm taking it out.
Excellent.
So you're taking the 500 out,
I am.
right?
So now that's 749, 969. You know, that's gonna raise questions from all those people for all these years. Why are we no longer funding this? So that's gonna happen.
Be prepared.
I will.
It'd be easier to just put the 500 in and just.
We have $40,000. That's pretty
But you're
good.
ready to defend this. All right.
I'm not defending, I'm just explaining. We have 40,000.
No, I'm not disagreeing, it just meant it's like so confusing to the people.
I agree with you 100%. Put it at the end.
It is.
Good.
That's warrant article 16 or 15, somewhere in there.
I think the perfect explanation is what Rich has just said. And that
Yeah,
is
we're-
that it's an
overfunded.
overfunded capital reserve. We're going to save ourselves $500 this year. I wouldn't even talk about,
The reason.
right, or the fact that we're moving towards a different fund until we have something in black and white to present to people.
We're
That it's-
overfunded.
That it's overfunded. It's just like the,
Because the public donations will still go in.
right, it's going to continue to grow. It's like the fund that we have for,
Equipment and stuff. This equipment?
no, for conservation of town records. I had hoped to get, it hasn't been funded for several years because, you know, there's, I think, $10,000 or $12,000 sitting there. And until we expend some of that, it doesn't make any sense to keep on adding money, especially when.
Our records preservation, yeah,
Yeah.
11,146.
So this coming year, I'm going to get an appraisal to have town record book number 4 conserved at the same institution that we've had the first 3 done, so that next year we'll have a firm figure that you can do a warrant article, because the only way that money can be expended is by town vote. I'd actually hope to get it done this year.
No, that's an expendable trust.
So the selectmen can do it.
Yes, we can.
Under this economy, we're finding a lot of these funds are being disputed, contributions to the funds. I was reading in the Rochester paper today that the conservation fund for the town of not Middleton, Milton is being disputed. They don't want to put the money from the change use tax there's a warrant article that says that they're no longer gonna fund that through the change use tax.
Yeah, we chose not to do that here.
Absolutely, and
So-
we're, as a conservation commission, our fund is growing, but we're not expending any of it. And that may be because of the level that it's at this point. But I don't see a great rash of private landowners rushing to put their property into conservation either.
Not in today's economic.
Tom and Dulcie were the last ones to do it, and I don't see anybody else lining up that really wants to do this. We have other land that could be conserved, but it's a very expensive commitment, very expensive. And unless you get an organization like Spinnef to back you and give you the money, it's prohibitive because of the legality, the survey and the lawyer's fees and everything else.
Okay. On the warrants, any other changes, concerns, additions? If
We're
not,
gonna get the one put in there on FEMA, right?
yeah, I gotta get with George and get the one for FEMA in there.
Do you usually run this by Dr. Marsh?
I don't think we've ever ran it by the moderator.
Yeah, you did.
I used to give you a copy
Yes,
of
that's
it.
right, and I think he should receive.
We will give him, yeah, we will give him a
I think he
copy.
should receive an advance copy, it's very useful.
Normally, the next step is to run it by legal counsel, and then the DRA. So, and then that all has to get done before the 25th. And then, once that's all done, then we'll send a copy to Dr. Marsh.
Well, I would suggest you send him the copy you've got and say that it's not official. At least it gives them a heads up ahead of time.
Okay, I can do that.
I really do. I've taken it off the posted, out of the bulletin board and made my copy.
Okay.
I think we just
Years
might as well send them the
past,
final,
that's
why
cutting it too
confuse them
close.
more than.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, I'll give them the final draft that's going to legal.
Okay, yes.
And then if there's any changes from that, I'll send it back to them. So, and then we'll have that, this and the budget will be posted by the 25th. We just need to set up a quick meeting to have all the select board sign it.
Yeah,
All right.
because your next meeting's on the 26th. So, but we will be meeting, no, but that's too late to get it to them by the 25th.
Next Tuesdays?
I will see if I can get it done so that you have it. If I put it in there by the weekend,
Yeah, we can come in and sign it. We don't have to have a meeting to sign it.
no.
Just once we know it's there, we all have to come in and sign it.
So I will let you know when it's there.
Annual report.
Have you gotten the Conservation Commission and the Planning Boards?
I have not gotten the planning board.
I mentioned it to Gary, and he was gonna, oh, I forgot, I'm gonna get it to you, so.
He's been saying that, but, nothing from emergency management,
I gotta contact Brad, so I must have put it on.
yeah. Fire warden, same thing. Okay. And, yeah, Gary Chickaroni
And me.
I got conservation. Yeah, no selectmen. And that's it.
Mine's in the process.
And that's it.
Who's gonna talk with Mrs. Marsh? Why don't you work with her on this? Don't give her the heads up what's happening.
Sure, I'll do that.
Which computer do you want that on? Yours or the selectmen's?
Mine.
Okay.
Do you have a copy?
I do.
Do you want to do it tonight?
I will. I have to run home and grab it though. I left it on the table. It'll just take me a second. Luckily, I was close. Okay. Oil burner maintenance. Rich.
Yeah, I just
what
want,
is this on?
yeah, I just want to make sure that we're together at a meeting, that we're going to try to find someone else to do the maintenance on the oil burners. I'm not sure we discussed that at a meeting.
No, we just all died over the bill.
Yeah, we got hit with a pretty big bill.
What happened
for-
with that bill?
I put it back in your box. I called them, it was $93. You're right, we didn't sign it. It was $93 per hour. They were here a half hour, but they charge us a minimum of 1 hour. Question was, are there any people in town that service oil burners, keep the money in town and maybe get a better rate? You're right, we didn't sign it.
Have you looked at Bob Coburn?
We were gonna check. We went to the
I had him
supplier.
do mine, and I'm very satisfied.
He does maintenance for you?
Oh, yeah, he'll do everything. He'll rebuild the whole thing for you.
Okay, so we have 2 contacts. We'll call Bob and Ron Lasty. Lasty is another person. I don't know if he does maintenance, but if Ron, if,
Mike Solsis, wasn't he doing?
Don't-
Is he still?
Can
I
you-
don't think he does the cleaning and servicing.
No.
this was an emergency call where we had no heat.
This was it Irving?
Urban came in, yes. We didn't know who to call.
No.
They're the ones
it
who
was
gave us the
Dead River.
$93
Dead River.
bill.
We switched.
We switched
Oh.
to Dead River,
Oh.
and so they were the ones that came in and did the repair.
Does anybody have a maintenance insurance policy that you can get?
Well, it was our only hit this year. We could look into it. It was our only hit, and we were just shocked at $93.50 for a half hour.
Given the
And
age,
you,
I got it.
Oh, I know.
and you know how easy it was to fix?
Click the restart button?
No, somebody shut the breaker off.
Oh.
But it was, but the breaker wasn't labeled for the oil burner. The breaker was labeled lights.
Outside.
Outside,
correct.
outside lights.
Yeah.
So somebody had shut that breaker off, because we don't need outside lights. And it shut off one of the burners.
We tried hitting buttons, we did all the troubleshooting we could do, and then when they came in the next morning at 8 o'clock, as he put his own meter on, voltmeter on, it worked back, he said, "You don't have power." He went to the box.
Strojan's in Rochester has, what do you call it, service plans.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's usually well worth the money.
Yeah, the year before we had 2 or 3, I would say, had to come out.
And it made it through okay during this real cold spell. Good.
Well, we just had, one of them just had the igniter replaced. When did we have them cleaned? They've both been worked on recently. One's got a brand new fancy digital igniter thing now, and the other one's an older, but it's a newer, older igniter, if you will. So they've been working just fine, and they'll probably need to be cleaned this coming year. Take it from there. All right. We've already talked about the scholastical warrant article. I don't think we need to beat that horse anymore. And
So are you still doing the coffee with the candidates on March 2nd?
coffee with candidates, March 2nd.
Someone should tell Dr. Marsh
And you're making,
something.
and that means somebody has to come in and make coffee too.
I can make.
What's the time for that?
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering. What do we usually do?
What did we say?
It's usually 8 to 10.
I
Eight
thought
to
so.
10, yeah.
I hope you're all not going to rely just on Marilou for refreshments. I hope your selectmen are going to make something.
Absolutely. Some of us will try.
Mine will be in my mailbox. You can pick it up when you go back.
Wow. Has it got to be edible?
It ain't going to be if it's in his mailbox.
How often does this happen to your mailbox?
Annually, it
Annually?
appears.
At least a-
He doesn't understand how to break the cycle. I'm talking about it, and it won't happen.
I put mine in a bucket with some concrete, that way if they hit it, it just flies off. and I
That's what it
pick up
is.
what
That's what it
This is
is.
how you know it didn't hit the mailbox, because the post and everything is still there.
You mean just the mailbox?
Yeah, there's mailbox.
Oh, you were going.
You think about at times, it was coming down better than 4 or 5 inches an hour. And when it takes me, we had 2 trucks constantly and it takes me 2.5 hours to go my half of the route. So, you're talking plowing 8 inches of snow off the road, and all of it coming from two 9-foot plows. So there's 18 feet of snow coming off one end.
At 50 miles
If
an
your
hour.
mailbox, 50, first gear all the way, coming down like that. If your mailbox isn't on good, it's,
As a matter of fact, I wanted to talk to you about that. Do you think you could somehow muffle the plow when you drive your house? I find it very disturbing to listen to all that rumble. Just when you go by my house.
yeah. I'll
Flip that switch.
I'll lift the plow too, so we don't,
What do they call that, a chain brake?
Pavement, so he's gonna have to smooth out the pavement first.
Thank you.
Have we ever done anything about the neighborhood watch signs?
Yes.
We got the letter.
Oh, do you mind if I respond to that?
No, go ahead.
We got a letter from the state giving us the okay. We have the signs in my office, but the letter was was rather confusing. It said, yes, you may install them in the right-of-way, but do not install them within the prescribed right-of-way. So I took it to the local district, let them have, I said, please explain. Several days later, what they explained is, I think it said, do not install within 25 feet of the prescribed right-of-way, which makes it sound confusing. You gotta be 25 feet outside the right-of-way, that's out in the bushes. But it's 25 feet from the center line of the right-of-way, which is where all signs, that's their gauge, where all signs are.
And you can't attach them to anything that has
Anything else, so
existing?
now we're at the mercy of the frost, because we can't attach them.
You can't
to their
attach them to
posts.
anything with an existing post?
Well, I just wanted to bring it up because our system is working. Just before the last storm, I had a Wakefield PD car come into my driveway, and the officer asked if I had seen a young gentleman in a plaid shirt in the neighborhood. And I said, no, I have not. I said, what's the problem? And he said, well, we got a call from one of your neighbors. This young man walked into her driveway, looked into her car, turned around and left. So she called Wakefield PD and they sent an officer over. I said, well, if he comes around, I'll certainly notify you. About 30 minutes later, he came to my door and presented a handout, a piece of paper, and the paper read that he and his father were in the tree cutting business, and they cut trees for free as long as they could take the logs, and they had already done some logging in the neighborhood, and they were ready to remove the logs, and would anybody else like to have some trees cut down? That was a legitimate business inquiry, so I called the police again and said, I've located the young man and he's not breaking into houses or anything like that. Oh yeah, we've already got 2 other calls from neighbors. So people are looking.
Good.
People are looking, and I think that's what should happen.
Good.
And the police appreciate it, because if there's a break-in, they have a plethora of paperwork they have to do, and they don't like to do that.
And homeowners appreciate it too, because we, when we're up Tibbetts Hill in the middle of a snowstorm, and there's a house up there that's not occupied very often, and we saw television, car had been parked in the driveway, hasn't been plowed, all of that, and there was like a glow of a television going on inside. And we had been up there a couple of times, a week and a half. Called the PD, told them you might want to do a house check. There was nobody there, no break-in, but they got a hold of the homeowner, and they accidentally left the car. Well, they left the car outside, accidentally left the television on, but they were so thankful that the police called me back and said, they were just so grateful that somebody took notice and had a check run.
Well, this was on the heels of several seasonal camps being broken into on Level Lake around me. My camp wasn't hit, but people near me were. And the police notified everybody that, there had been camps broken into. So it's that time of year. we haven't got that, at that time, we didn't have that much snow on the ground.
Right.
So it's easy for them to come in and break in and get out, you know?
Okay.
All right.
What time does the president speak to? 9? No?
Exactly. All right. Nothing was put on the agenda for new business, so we'll move on to mail.
Can I do a quick announcement? Or is there a public input announcement part of it?
Hang on. Public. Is this something you would like on there every meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Public announcements, and then we'll move on to mail.
Just want to remind, tomorrow at the Carroll County Complex, that's at 95 Water Village Road in Ossipee, you're invited to the weekly Carroll County Commissioners meeting. Also, February, it starts at 8:30, there's refreshments, coffee, pastry. And February 14th at 7 p.m., the commissioners are asking for public input on the new admission policy for the nursing home. Now, I bring this commissioners meeting up because I just want you to know that the budget for the county is $28.5 million, and no one shows up at these meetings. And the budget for the nursing home is $12 million. So it is a sector of our government that we should not forget. So if you can make it to the meeting, even they take correspondence too, so if you have comments, you can write them a letter or email them, and then we can bring the meeting. So every Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Thank you.
We received the listing of students from Kingswood. Yep. So we can go through there and verify that we are on the rolls for
How's it work?
only those that we're supposed to be on the rolls for.
I compared it to last year's too, just to see how many students that we did get. We have a total increase of 2 pupils.
2 pupils.
Yeah.
It's population explosion.
I did have a question.
Did we lose anybody though, with people moving?
Yes, yeah, we have 12 new kids and 10 moved. So,
What's our present total?
oh, I didn't count.
They don't have a total on it?
They don't have a total on it, no. They just have their name and what grade they're in and all that stuff.
Don't we pay by the month based upon the total? So don't they bill us?
You don't,
Yes.
they have
they
that
don't- they
once a
don't-
year, and whether you're here,
They don't.
they have a certain date they use, and it's who's enrolled by that date.
I just had a question on one of them.
No, I probably have their phone. I made a note to look for it.
Wow, that is her first name. 84.
84?
Yeah.
84 students
That's all I
in this
counted.
town?
And we pay over $1 million a year?
84.
I have a
What's your
question
new
on one of
construction?
them. I wrote a note here.
Yeah, he moved.
Yeah.
How many million did
Yeah.
you say?
Which one's
But they're
that?
being charged, we're being charged for it.
It's over $1 million.
So,
Which one?
last one,
Tom and Denise across the street.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yes. They
So
went, they moved to Wolfboro.
Okay, well.
So then we need to make
That's what I
that, so
want to know.
83.
83?
Yeah,
So we'll have to have that one removed.
so I can email Mary Patry,
Still in
tell her
the,
that,
still in the school system, but relocated.
okay. But they're in Wolfboro. Okay, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, we'll pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Because we need to let them know by March 1st, so.
We're paying them 1.2 million a year.
Should draft the list,
1.2 million?
brief letter. You can sign it, but just give them something in.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Their annual report hasn't come out yet, has it?
I think it
Yes.
has.
Oh, it has?
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
oh, glad I asked. It's always fun reading.
It is, it's interesting.
Thank you, Wes.
7 seniors this year.
Thank you.
When
I
you
have
come out of
something
the
to
eighth
do in the morning.
And when the last, what needed to change, right?
I have last year's.
How many seniors?
13. Coming out of 8th and going into high school.
Plus the one.
4.
1, 2, 3,
Four last
4
year.
and 0
Oh,
grade.
did you hear that? 4 seniors last year?
Last year, 4.
Now 7. But Bill said, how many are going into high school? It's a little more expensive. So, you're gonna take care of that?
I
From
already have my
FEMA.
copy.
Okay.
I'll just file that.
We have until March 19th to adopt and have the Department of Homeland
Beautiful report.
Security's Federal Emergency Management Agency Regional Office approve the floodplain management measures that satisfy 44 code of the federal regulations.
Is it salary?
Only if we get one more. There you go.
We have some in the school district.
What's that?
Teachers are making
You got invited to a breakfast.
$90,000 a year. Yes.
You were on local? Oh, Manchester.
They don't put the teacher's salary.
Portsmouth.
in there. But we have some, I requested in 2010 from the school district to break down the salaries. We have some
Civil engineers.
teachers making over 90,000.
Governor Wentworth Regional School Board meeting was on February 4th.
That was a good one.
That happens every,
About 60 years ago, he was making 3,000. So they were vastly more underpaid then. We don't hear so much about that nowadays.
I'll keep you posted.
And that was in mid-West.
as you know, Tri-County CAP has recently encountered financial difficulties which are the result of our agencies trying to do too much for too many for too long in a time of shrinking resources. To assist us in addressing these issues, the administrative staff at TCCAP has been changed. Former CEO and CFO have left the agency. New fiscal consultants.
Oh, do they need one?
That'll save them money. Have been brought in, and a probate court appointed special trustee as a temporary replacement of our board of directors. Sounds like they all got fired.
Who is this?
Tri-County CAP.
Reading that in the paper.
With full powers to act on behalf of the board, we have spent the past several weeks working with funders, state government, staff, and our other stakeholders to precisely assess the situation and to plan for the impediment. It just goes on to, it's too early to predict what additional adjustments to our menu of programs or the individual programs designs may need to be made, but I can assure you that we are making our decisions strategically and carefully, and only after thorough examination. I can also tell you that support from local communities and other funding sources is more important to us now than ever before as we work to turn around a difficult situation. We appreciate the support you have provided TCCAP and its clients in the past, and I thank you for your consideration of our current request for funding. Please call either of us to discuss any further questions. Peter Higgeby, Chief Operating Officer, or Todd C. Fahey, Special Trustee.
Well, a question for you based on that. Obviously, they stay in business, it's a good idea, but if we're donating money to them and they happen to go under, and once we voted at town meeting, are we obliged to give them that money? I think we are.
They
Yes.
requested.
Do you receive any information on the local government center? Their director resigned under
Yeah.
Questionable circumstances?
questionable circumstances as regards the municipal and state pension funds.
That's the new election, right?
I
Yeah,
guess-
this is that North
I guess
American
we don't have
Power.
anybody under that system, huh?
I don't know. Teacher's pension.
Well, all the police and firemen and so forth contribute to that fund, and the municipalities. They don't know where the money's going.
Now they don't. No, it's-
This is that North American Power, if anybody's interested in reading up
I
on.
did ask somebody about that at work
Switching
for
it.
the power company, previous occupation. He said,
What's their kilowatt rate?
we don't,
27?
7.29 cents.
Okay, yeah, okay.
For it's only guaranteed for 6 months. After that, it'll be probably 11.5.
they did ask, this person I spoke to said, use caution because you may be signing a contract for 2 years. So he said, just use caution.
You have to sign a contract?
This person said you did. I have no idea.
I talked to them, and I said, could I see the contract before I signed up? And the answer was no. Once you say you want to sign up, we'll start the process, send you the contract. If you don't like what you see, you can cancel it. So I said, can I see the contract before I do that? And they said, and I said, I guess the answer is no.
It's like Obamacare, isn't it?
If they won't show me the contract, right? It's a 2-year sign up.
Pass it and then we'll read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta sign it now.
So it looked good, but I'd like to read it first.
Well, we signed up for New Hampshire Electric or whatever it was. We don't see any difference.
Did you have to sign a contract?
No. Pick up the phone, call them, 800 number.
But you don't see any difference in your
Well, it's
rates?
listed on there that it's, that they are now the provider of the power, not the transmission, but
Yeah.
we don't see any difference. They don't really break it down for you.
Has your bill gone down though?
It should, yeah, it's,
Cents per kilowatt hour,
well-
considerably less?
that, against what? That's the problem. Public service has changed theirs too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Public
this
service went up, but their
9.24, something like
Their
that.
generation fees went up quite a bit, but their delivery went down. So when you change to electricity in New Hampshire, you get a better than projected savings. For me, it was like $26 a month, I saved.
Oh, you did switch?
Not yet, but I could run the calculator, I had my bill in front of me.
Yeah.
And I ran it based on their numbers, and it would be $26 a month.
International salt bill.
We have an international salt bill.
Henry, that was my energy.
Bills keep coming.
They've been making noises about
Oh,
giving people
that's
electricity for
special.
quite a few months, and I keep.
Oh, look, Avatar.
They say, we're not ready yet. we're
Whatever
not
happened
ready
with
yet."
Brookline?
Apparently, they're having difficulty getting a
packet that came
suitable
from
agreement
Brookline?
with these alternative companies.
Do you want to hear this?
Probably because of the skullduggery we heard about. with
I
long-term
called
contracts.
DRA, and they said, oh, we must have put the wrong the label on it. And so she said, you either can mail it back to me, or you can mail it directly to Brookline. And I'm like, it was like almost $6, just, they mailed it to us, and it cost $6, an equalization ratio for this town. So,
Just tell her to come pick it up.
well, see, that's the thing. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna argue with these people? Anyway,
Return to sender.
It's already opened up.
Tape it back closed. Return to sender.
I don't know.
We may need their.
So anyway.
Not worth crossing.
So I put some stamps on it, stuck it in the thing. Well, Wendy came in, and Diana was here on Friday. Diana says, what's up with this envelope? So I told her the whole story. She said, that's baloney, we're not paying for this. She said, I'm calling DRA myself right now and telling them they can print another one, and I'm throwing it away. Okay, you do that. I assume she did. I didn't hear. Did you hear anything? Did she tell you about that, Dick? No.
I don't hear anything.
Oh, Joyce? Yeah, Yeah.
Does it say-
What happens in the town office stays in the town office.
Really?
Wastewater and stormwater regulations.
Does it say who?
We don't have them.
Yeah, isn't it?
This is,
This is
Oh.
Jessica. this
That's
is-
Jessica's.
that's his,
That's
that's,
just, yeah, that's, we just filed that.
it just says he came to visit.
Yeah, there's a file somewhere in
Oh,
there.
it is, yeah.
It's an after-action report.
Pretty intense there.
Oh, yeah.
Oops, sorry. Child Passenger Safety Certification Course for all you children.
What is it?
It's a Child Passenger Safety Certification course. To train you on how to transport children safely. And that's all the mail?
We have non-public.
I know. That's all the mail that we have?
Who wants FEMA?
Oh, that's me. Yeah, don't throw that one away. That one can go away. We don't have that. And at this point, we will go into non-public meeting. Oh, man, I can never remember the damn RSA. That's 91A.
Talking about that chemical. 5. For cremation.
Cremation.
3. And you are, when they're all done, you're flushing your sources.
You're flushed down.
What they have left goes into the source system.
We were kidding about that, that's actually what happens?
Yeah, everything dissolves but the bones, and they're fragmented, and what's your skin, everything, it dissolves and you're flushed down the source system.
91A:3.
Bones are ground up.
2C. Got that?
Got it.
Cheerful.
Cheerful.
So you're flushed out the drain?
And there are some bones that are left and they're ground up. You're giving up
This is
How can that be not,
Toxic.
They,
how can that be safe?
they claim they add peroxide, I think, or anyway,
We're
they add
going
something
without
to it
going
to
in.
neutralize it.
You going in there, Rose?
It's interesting to hear them come and testify.
I bet.
Already
I have
called
the
it.
paperwork in there.
Already called it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, 91A:3, no,
2C.
91A:3, 2C.
Need a roll call vote?
Yes, we're certainly do.
Roll call vote.
Thank you.
Mr. Nelson.
Yes.
Mr. Zacher.
Yes.
Mr. Camp, yes. We are hereby now in non-public.
Well, you want to go in there?